Hi everyone, it's Ruby G. Welcome to Truth and Neurons. The court docs are in, so I think we'll start with the court's admission about alternative suspects. 3 of the individuals were each socially connected to one or more of the victims, interacted with one or more of the victims at social events in the hours prior to the homicide, lived within walking distance of the crime scene, and were familiar with the layout of the victim's home from prior social events. While perhaps this evidence could suggest an opportunity to commit the crime, which no doubt is an opportunity shared by dozens of others in the victim's social circles, there is no compelling evidence that any of them had a motive to kill the victims, much less physically harm them, or a means to do so. This judicial admission by Hippler is extraordinary. The court acknowledges that alternative suspects had the classic triad of criminal opportunity: proximity, access, and intimate familiarity with both the victims and crime scene. Yet this evidence was dismissed as legally irrelevant. Think about it logically. If law enforcement was 100% certain these people weren't involved, why the hell would they leak these specific details? Why tell us about the walking distance? Why mention their familiarity with the house layout? This isn't standard legal language. It sounds more like damage control. They're getting ahead of the information they know will eventually come out. The court admits that these individuals were socially connected to the victims, interacted with the victims hours before the murders, lived within walking distance of the crime scene, were familiar with the layout of the victim's home. And I think what makes it even more explosive is the defense expert Brent Turvey, one of the most respected forensic experts in the country, has concluded that multiple assailants were necessary to accomplish these crimes in the alleged time frame. Turvey found evidence that attempts were made to clean up the crime scene, which would have taken far longer than the state's timeline allows. Multiple weapons were used against Kaylee Goncalves. Xana and Ethan appeared to have been attacked simultaneously. So we have multiple attackers, multiple weapons, and that sounds like a coordinated assault. This isn't me making some kind of speculation. This is an expert forensic analysis from someone who's worked hundreds of homicide scenes. What's also interesting is how the court treats social connections as somehow exonerating rather than incriminating. In forensic psychology, we know that familiarity breeds opportunity, and social connections often provide the motivation and means for violence. The court's logic, knowing the victims well, makes someone less likely to harm them, which contradicts decades of research in criminal psychology. Another possibility could be, I'm just spitballing here, I'm not sure, but it could be that the defense doesn't want to reveal who they believe the real perpetrators are just yet, especially given the conduct of the prosecution throughout this case. That's a serious consideration. Ann Taylor, the lead defense attorney, has directly accused the state of essentially trying to kill her client, Bryan Kohberger. And fair enough. These were her exact words. The prosecution have tried this by pursuing the death penalty while withholding critical evidence. The prosecution has been repeatedly called out for keeping secrets. That's all for today's episode of Truth and Neurons. If you found this analysis helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment below with your thoughts on the ethics of media commentary in high-profile cases. Until next time, keep thinking critically and questioning everything. Cheers, bye!